I can think of that would be like PoE.
Yeah, we're live here.
Live.
I've been security cameras because I'm building up a little microphone empire here. So I was thinking security cameras might not be a bad idea.
Oh, just employ guard outside your house.
Yeah, no kidding. Get a guard. Manned presence 24/7. Stand in my basement.
Yeah, that'd be hilarious. In the back of your videos, you just have them standing there like bouncers. That'd be great. No, but like, normal Ethernet cables are like 12 volts and like a few milliamps, so and unshielded. So the only thing I can think of is if the not to mention Ethernet cables operate in the range of megahertz. This frequency that we're looking at is in the low hertz range, like 10 hertz maybe.
By the way, Shrimp says yo and brie, or brie, or however. I'm guessing it's like a pig. So we're talking about. Also, I hear my voice in your background. You want to go headphones, man? Sorry. We're talking about the interference now. If you missed it, it's up on our Discord. And it's a sound that I came across when I was doing a video for this pencil microphone, the P170. And I recorded, everything seemed fine, and then I went to go edit like 6 hours later, like an idiot. Instead of checking my footage and my audio, I put it away, and I like to do this a lot where I'll walk away from the project, and I'll come back, and then I'll edit it. And I put all the audio together, and I was listening to one point. You could hear Dylan, if you want to play it. Dylan can play audio.
Yes. Hang on. Hang on. I've like mangled this file. Hang on.
What'd you do to it? And something like this pencil mic.
You hear that?
Oh yeah. Sounds like a demonic fart.
No, and it's a sawtooth wave, which is not conducive. Like digital stuff is square waves all the way, all the ones and zeros, on or off. So sawtooth, it's a gradient. That doesn't make any sense. The only thing I think of is that what cable was it?
What do you mean? Oh, what cable?
Like what XLR cable? Yeah.
Oh, it's been replaced.
Did you make it?
No.
Okay.
But it has been replaced, and that was the first thing I did. I was like, no, we're replacing that. I gotta send out an invite people. So the Discord link expires? That's stupid. Stupid Discord. All right, just put that in there. The fact that expires is annoying. So
honestly, the fact that anything expires is annoying. Let's be honest.
What do you think would cause that then?
I can't think of anything in the natural world that emits a square wave. So that eliminates any kind of natural phenomenon.
Okay, so supernatural then.
Well, man-made is what we're artificial. But again, like digital stuff is on or off. It's 1 or 0. It's 12 volts or no volts, or 12 volts or neg 12 volts.
Bang says, I'm shocked to find gambling going on in here. Oh, dear.
Gambling?
What's the gamble? I see no gamble. Bangs, explain yourself. Also, Bangs hasn't joined our Discord yet.
Bangs likes talking cryptic.
I'm
Keep
just
us
saying,
on our toes.
Bangs has not joined the Discord.
Call out!
I was expecting Bangs to show up at some point, but then I went and I looked through other Discords in the microphone and audio sphere, and I haven't found Bangs anywhere unless Bangs has a different name, which is very possible.
Yep.
But why would Bangs Naughty Bits be on YouTube as well as Reddit, but not on Discord? Doesn't make sense. So maybe Bangs is just anti-Discord. It was very, very possible. So we're saying that sound wave would have come from. So if it didn't come from a natural source, you don't think it came from an electric source?
It very well could have come from an electrical source. Certainly not an alternating current one, because it fluctuates like all over the map.
Bang says he disposes Discord. I'm guessing they meant despise.
The only thing that I can think of, and I'm just going by what I'm looking at here on an oscilloscope, like a nerd, is you've basically accidentally created your very own theremin. You've created
With
somehow.
the microphone?
No, well, with the cable.
With the cable.
With the cable,
But
because
I wasn't
theremins.
moving during that. Like,
So
there's-
to backtrack, theremins work on capacitance.
yeah.
And so they're the closer or further away from each other that the two things are, the lower, higher, because it's very the pattern is very reminiscent of a theremin, and the waveform is very much like a waveform that a theremin would create.
Okay,
so
but here's the thing. So that's a very gentle curve up and then a curve down again. That would require me to be moving in that gentle style, and there was no part of my body moving like that. I can guarantee no part of my body. Shrimp says, I made Korean dumplings for you all, and you can't stop me.
good, yay.
I need to get a post office box for Korean dumplings.
No, that's the best I got is fluctuations in capacitance between something else.
Something has inductance, capacitance in the circuit. So, but there was nothing inducting around me.
No, well, again, it would have been wherever so was the cable on the floor?
No, the cable was. See, and this is the thing. So here's how that one specific video, this laptop that I'm using to do this live, I also record onto. And what had happened was I only plug in the internet. I only plug it in just for the live. I unplug it and I do my videos otherwise. The microphone, the XLR cable went across and over top of that cable and into the interface right beside it. So that's the only difference in my setup that happened that one time was the computer was still plugged in to an Ethernet cable.
So is the case with any troubleshooting, your first goal is going to be to recreate this.
Yes, and I'm going
and
to at some point.
Take some time and reconfigure for the sake of our lovely audience and me and my sanity. Find a way to recreate this and then whittle it down and play with it. But the first step is figuring out if it's recreatable. Because if you like taking the Ethernet cable running from your laptop, like same situation, XLR cable, same cable, like literally like wrap
UPS is doing it.
Wrap some shit around.
Nothing here is plugged into my UPS. My UPS is about 6 feet behind me. And that's the thing. I'm on a completely different circuit than my UPS for this setup.
But was the UPS near
No,
the
it's
cable?
6 feet away.
So none of the cables went anywhere near the UPS?
No.
Okay, so then, that's...
Well, that was weird. My laptop just went out for a second.
So the UPS, if it was physically around it, because, I would say that even then, I mean, a UPS, unless the UPS is running,
But
which
then
it will
once
generate
again, the
ton of
only
magnetic
thing
field.
that has changed was that Ethernet. So if it's a ground issue, the only thing that's changed is the Ethernet along with the XLR cable going from the P170 to the Evo. That's the only thing that's changed. Nothing else has changed in the whole setup. Nothing's
Was
been moved.
the laptop plugged into power?
Yes, it is right
Is-
now. And it always is when I record.
So is the Evo bus powered or is it wall powered?
Bus powered.
Okay. And the mic was plugged in Phantom straight into the Evo?
The Phantom, yes. Bangs is saying UPS is doing it. You have a back UPS, not smart UPS. Square wave.
We're not talking square waves though. These are sawtooth waves. Like very obviously a sawtooth
I
wave.
love
If it was
that.
just-
Bangs versus Dylan. What caused the hum?
if the UPS was running,
Ethernet
I would say-
switch. My Ethernet doesn't go through my UPS. I was gonna run my Ethernet through the UPS, but I
Don't
never
do
ended
that.
up doing that.
does your UPS have AVR on it?
No.
Really? Oh, okay. So I think that if it did, but even then, you said the
It's 6
circuits
feet
weren't,
behind me.
and the circuit, it wasn't in the circuit. So
No, nowhere near.
yeah. So if there's no proximity and it's not in line with it, then UPS is out of the question.
Yeah, like and that's the thing that thing is stuffed under my desk, 6 feet behind me.
Yeah,
It
but
doesn't come
Bangs is
anywhere
right. Bangs is right in the sense that shitty UPSs do
Yes.
do a 60 hertz square wave and not a 60 hertz sine wave, which is why they tend to fuck with electronics
Yes.
in a way that's not very good. But So, but in this case, it's irrelevant because you didn't have it plugged into it. The UPS wasn't running. If the UPS isn't running, it's just letting wall power go through. And this was not a 60 hertz hum. This was all over the map. As like I measured anywhere between I measured like 2.5 hertz up to 11.6 ish hertz.
You have
Like
two AC sources. What do you mean by I have two AC sources?
So 2 different circuits.
Yeah, but not in play right now. The only thing in play right now is one circuit.
Yeah,
I don't and I did that on purpose. I made sure that this setup is separate from my back setup. Always.
Yeah, I'm not convinced this is a power issue because again, if it was 60 hertz, there would be alarm bells going off all over the place.
It's an alternate trying to come through the cable and take over your body. I've been watching too many analog horror movies.
Ghost in the Machine. It's Ghost in the Machine. The guy's coming to kill you.
But that's the one thing. The one thing that threw me off was that it wasn't a consistent hum. And it's something that it obviously had its own arc to it, which made me, if it's a consistent hum, I'm thinking cables and cables. You have one cable overlapping another, or, they're running in parallel, stuff like that. But there was none of that. And the only thing that was moved was that one XLR cable and the Ethernet being plugged into my laptop.
What's the link speed of your Ethernet?
I have no idea.
Is it a gigabit?
Oh, yes, it is.
Okay.
It's gig and a half.
Gig and a half.
Gig and a half, yeah.
What that tells me is the frequency is up in the very high hundreds of thousands, possibly, of megahertz. Which is much higher pitched than what that frequency was. So it's not a power issue and it's not an Ethernet issue.
Did I have a ghost in my studio that day?
Again, it has to be a capacitance issue because what I am hearing. Let's replay the audio again quickly here. One more time. Right, like that's
demonic fart.
That's a capacitance thing.
Soylent Green happened in 2022, FYI. I've never seen Soylent Green. This is one of my. I've seen all of the people talking about it. I didn't go back and watch a lot of classic movies. I need to. Cactus, the first Doom, also happened in 2022. Holy shit. One of these days, I'm gonna have to sit down and watch like Citizen Kane, Soylent Green, all these.
Oh, classics. Citizen Kane is a classic.
I've never watched it.
Really?
I'm not a movie person. I don't mind going to the movies, but it's never been like, ooh, let's sit down for 2 hours and watch a TV.
Yeah, Citizen Kane is one of those movies that unless you're like a movie nerd, it's pointless.
Well, basically. No, I love a good story. I love a well-written story. It's just, to me, the concept of sitting down in front of my TV for 2 hours is ridiculous. I don't enjoy just sitting watching one single thing. I need to watch Clockwork Orange. That's another one that, yes, that's on the list, but until I get break a leg and I'm rather going to be sitting in one spot for a long time doing nothing, probably not going to happen.
You're going to watch True Romance. That's a classic.
True Romance. Which one's that? Is that a porn?
That's the one. No, it's one. It's like a night. It was all-star cast. That like Chris Walken, like James Gandolfini, Dennis Hopper. Like all-star cast. Was written by Tarantino, directed by Tony Scott, the guy that jumped off the bridge.
Nice. I do love Tarantino.
Samuel L. Jackson's in it. Gets killed in like the first 5 seconds.
I also love those movies. I love like the cameo deaths and stuff.
Oh
like
my
that.
god! Well,
That's
and I think the best part, my favorite part, is the actor there played Winston Churchill. What was his name? I'm forgetting his name. Dark Knight. He played the Commissioner Gordon.
I didn't watch Dark Knight.
Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman. Okay.
Gary Oldman plays a hopped up pimp drug dealer,
nice.
Which is amazing.
See, now Bangs brings up a point. Read the book, and like honestly, that would probably appeal to me more. I do like reading. I've never been a big sit down in front of the TV and watch a bunch of stuff.
I think it's because reading's more engaging.
Well, it's also
like there's something so passive about just sitting there and just digesting
Yeah,
visuals.
watching movies I find it feels wasteful. After I watch a movie, I feel like I've wasted my time.
Wait
Even
3
if
hours of your life.
well, even if I enjoyed the movie, it's like, well, I could have been doing stuff for 3 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, you could have been watching a 3-hour YouTube documentary.
Well, but that's the thing. Then I'll sit down and I'll watch like a gamer play Horizon Zero Dawn for 4 hours, and but I can still be doing things in the background while they're playing.
Yeah.
Like I can do video. And that's why I kind of want to get that. I'm getting a 32-inch monitor, so I can have like separate screens, so I can be watching something while doing other things, and then I can split out the audio. So I've got the audio for. Doing video in my headphones while I'm listening to the audio for somebody else playing a video game on another. Yeah, it's going to be. They cut out half the book. Yeah, okay, so we're in a movie. So the question this week is, what are you looking forward to 2022? I just got off the phone yesterday with the guy from Maker Pipe. So I'm making that voiceover booth, Dylan. This is turning out to be quite a fun experience. I'm also going to be making a booth for Mary Ann, who's a voiceover talent that I'm friends with and I've worked in the radio industry for. And this booth, I'm doing up a video about the mini model of the booth. And then I'm going to be putting the full thing together. That's probably the only thing I'm looking forward to this year. There are no real big mic or interface kind of coming out. Like, I remember last year, it was the Q9U. That was the big thing that they announced. It still wasn't out, and everyone was waiting for it. I feel like there's nothing really that people are waiting for this year.
I'm just waiting for Omicron to be done.
Yeah. Well, I mean, supply lines are dying.
Just calling out the elephant in the room. Like,
Third degree, movies do the work for you. Less imagination for the consumer to use. You could even say with the soundtrack, it even prevents you from having your own feelings on it. Yeah. I don't know what it is about TV and movies. I go through phases with TV, not necessarily with movies. The odd movie I like to sit down and watch, but it's very few and far in between.
yeah, somebody really has to sell me on
Yeah.
a movie if I'm going to sit down and dedicate 2.5 hours of my life to watching.
All right, so you think I should recreate that sound effect?
Well,
eh?
that's the first key to solving any problem is make it repeatable, and then like tweak the environment until it goes away, and then bring it back, and then
Can
figure
we
it out
agree
way.
that the XLR cable was somehow the culprit? Because the microphone has had zero problems since.
That seems likely. So hopefully you still have that cable because that will be vital in.
I can't remember
repeating it.
which one it is. Well, that's fine. Once it pops
just-
up again.
Yeah.
Anyone hear some weird sounds coming off this microphone? Nothing? No. And that's the other thing. I don't monitor while I'm shooting videos.
Yeah. Right now I got nothing. I got some. It sounds like just like a washing machine in the background or something. But that's all I got.
Yeah, we got a dryer going over here, but I
There you
don't. I don't monitor while doing videos because I don't like the look of the headphones on, and also so little changes about my setup. I do the setup. I get everything the levels all right, then I take the headphones off and I shoot. So I guess we'll see. Maybe it's the ground on the XLR cable.
Yeah. I mean, if it's a capacitance issue, that would be part of the culprit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, and then it's just a matter of what's getting through, right? Like if the ground pops off, then you're just trying to figure out exactly what got through the cable to make that sound.
I don't think it's anything that got through. I think it's the cable in relation to something else, something that must have been moving slightly, and maybe not you, but something in the vicinity. Like, was there a cat in the room at the time? Maybe.
There might have been, actually, because I remember I was yelling at one of my cats. But then, like when I recorded the guitar version, by the way, pencil mics are the shit. Loving the hell out of this thing.
Yeah. Told you. I fucking told you.
As a boom mic, and I'm moving this thing to about 1.5 feet away from my mouth. You just got to make sure it's actually pointed at your mouth. Let's just do that. This thing is fantastic. In fact, I was planning on getting another boom mic for my secondary channel. And like I was going to get the Sennheiser MKH416, which by the way, I finally tested out in this environment. The Sennheiser doesn't work in this environment. it's too active of an environment. I would need to treat more, or I would need to have my own booth.
That's surprising.
Way too active. It was picking up everything.
Well, it is an it's a condenser, so
Yeah.
that's a factor. But I mean, if you're strategic about your angling of it, you should be able to negate most of that.
Bandrew, monitor everything always. Although you're a pro and don't put out plosives, I'm a mere mortal. Will occasionally pop a mic.
You were given shit and a compliment at the same time.
I pop all the time. My well, in one of the problems I'm having, the MKH416 is hypercardioid.
Popping peas drive producers particularly batty.
You're not even popping them right there.
I know. I'm not. I wasn't trying to. Popping peas drive producers. There we go. I have to actively try. If not, it just doesn't happen.
When you're putting mic to mic, and Bandrew should know this, when you've got two mics side by side, you're going to pop once in a while because you can't have perfect mic technique on two microphones at once. I can have perfect mic technique on one mic, but when you put the second mic in there, anything you do to alleviate a pop will just pop the other friggin' microphone. It's one of the, well, actually, Bandrew I haven't seen Bandrew go side to side with two mics at once. It's usually just one mic at a time, and he does jump cuts in between, which might actually be the way I would have to go about it.
I'm gonna test this theory out right now.
Okay, I'm very poppy. Keep that in mind.
All right. So the SM7 is operational.
All right, you're testing the pop theory.
Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. How many peppers did Peter Piper pick? Am I popping in the mic that everybody else can hear?
I don't know which one I can hear.
You're
you
hearing
popped, you popped a couple times, yeah.
You're hearing the RE20.
You popped a couple times, yeah.
Let's try it again. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. How many peppers did Peter Piper pick?
I want a side by side with three mics: U87, U67, TLM103.
Okay, I am not doing a
that's
pop
true.
test on a U87. That's not happening.
I did.
That's a recipe for disaster.
I did it on your mic. You're
Fuck
welcome.
you.
But I'm also very breathy. I'm susceptible to a lot of pops. I don't like using pop filters.
I am very dainty with my lungs. I will admit that. I am very like to get like a burst of air, especially during COVID. I feel like COVID has made me a little more conscious of my airflow than normal.
Yeah.
Just
I've
because
always been boomy and breathy. Like
even yesterday, like at the optometrist, like she was like a foot and a half away from me, and I'm like, we're both wearing masks, but I'm trying to like talk super soft so that I don't get like a ton of air movement.
Well, now that we know how much of our spit ends up on everyone when we talk, thanks COVID.
Yeah. Fuck.
I liked spitting on people. Come on.
There's a short. There's a YouTube short.
Bang says very disappointed. No U87 today, peep. I think that's talking to Bandrew. And I love this. That's awesome. Shrimp saying that he loves Bandrew's facial hair. I love YouTube where you can actually get compliments on your facial hair.
I prefer the general aesthetic, the toque, the chapeau.
Bandrew says once a trumpet player, always an overexerter of air. I was clarinet. Okay, but I did play saxophone a lot, which that gets a lot of the chest moving as well.
Hey, unless you're like a subcontrabass saxophonist where the reed is the size of a coffee table.
Yeah,
then you don't know anything about airflow.
Well, yeah, and I've never played everything's been reed.
You should look it up right now. Look up. I want to see your reaction. Look up the picture. Like, just go into Google Images, type subcontrabass sax. Just for clarification, there's only I think 2 of them in Canada. 2 people that play this particularly.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah,
all right.
That was worth it.
Good to know.
That was worth it.
Good to know. OnlyFans explosive. Yeah, I'll just pop my peas on OnlyFans. But I've always been bad with an SM58. I will pop an SM58 all the time. Like I'm constantly popping on that mic. I really have to pay attention to my mic, my microphone skills while I'm doing that. And even like I do a morning show and everything's 45-degree angle off to the side corner of mouth because if I get anywhere near to the front of that microphone, everything pops. I will pop a fucking W. I swear to God, I will pop on a W. I don't know how I do it. I pop on some of the weirdest friggin' things.
We went to college with a guy who popped an A. That was impressive.
Yeah, I did an A before too.
He was like, ah, and you're like, how do you do that?
But I'm also loud and boomy. That's my thing.
Loud and boomy.
I've got a bunch of air coming up over my vocal cords, so that's just what it is.
Yeah, blow hard, yeah.
Shrimp saying, oh, by the way, Shrimp, we're going to have to move to your next name because it always screws me up. I kind of want to call you Third Degree. So Third Degree says, haha, I played clarinet because somehow I loved Squidward growing up. Nice. Spit on me, Aiden. I missed that, Bandrew. Is that something that YouTubers do? I just need to know. Like, I mean... I didn't know being part of the group meant I get to spit on everyone, you know?
Bunch of alpacas up in here.
Anyways, how the hell did we get onto this?
I don't know. We were talking about popping peas.
Yeah, but how did we get onto popping peas?
No idea.
Monitor.
We were talking
everything.
about
I didn't monitor. Okay. So yes, I wasn't monitoring the sound. I'm not going to continue. I'm not going to monitor during my videos. I like the cleaner look. But I am setting up. I'm getting a secondary setup for a secondary channel I'm doing, and I think I might try to. I don't know. It's going to be hard. Monitoring is going to be a pain in my ass, no matter what. OnlyFans exclusive content. What do you
The
think?
amount of times on these lives that OnlyFans comes up is concerning.
Well, no. I mean, people want to see what people want to see. Dan, how's it going, buddy?
Is that Asdas?
Yes, that's Asda.
Nailed it. See, I can't.
What? Oh, you're not watching
not
watching the
watching.
comments?
I should give you a viewer. Rude. What a guy.
Oh, you don't have to.
Says the guy who's spitting in everyone's face.
Well, no. Okay, so to just understand this, if you have a stationary microphone at a desk or something that you use to game with or you use to do a morning show with like I do, you're going to notice that not only the microphone but the area around it, like your keyboard and stuff, will get little spots on it. That's because you're talking in the general direction of the microphone all the time and you're spitting on it. Everyone does it. It's not, it's just COVID proved that. You spit when you talk.
All you have to do to test it is like do a thing, put a Kleenex over your mic. Look at it at the end.
No, you can actually see on the. I have to clean the microphone off every probably once every couple months.
I just do that anyway because it's gross.
Yeah, no, it is. Jan, how's it going?
That's one of the reasons why I will never buy a used mic. I'm like, the shit microphones get put through.
Well, it's also this is why I don't use an expensive microphone to do my morning show, because I spend 4 hours talking into the microphone. And the microphone's gross. Like, radio station microphones? Oh, God, I don't even want to think about what that.
There's one right here.
Dan loves spitting on folks, too. Jan says, YouTube alerts suck. You came in at the right time, Jan. We're talking about spitting on people. YouTube
demonetized
I
immediately.
was lucky enough to see the update in the community post. This is annoying with YouTube. Click that bell, y'all. Click that bell.
I don't even know if it matters anymore. I feel like they'll probably find some way to subvert the bell at some point.
I started using the King B2 for all of my YouTube or all of my radio stuff. It's a perfect radio mic. Big chonky. It's got a built-in pop filter. Works perfectly. There have been some Twitch streamers who eat while streaming their mic grills.
Andrew,
food.
no.
Ugh.
No.
You know what? But eating ASMR is such a big deal, and I can't imagine
It
who
is.
would want to. Like, why
It
would
is.
why would you watch that? I don't even get it.
Some ASMR, I'm not gonna lie, some ASMR does work for me. Eating is not one of them.
ASMR does not work. Mouth noises are the bane of my existence. It rages me, man.
Yeah, no, that like when people make like the little
Yeah, no.
when they start doing that makes me cringe. I can't. I can't do that because it's just gross.
Although, you know what? I get props to people that are willing to eat on stream because you know what people are doing with that content. and yet you're still eating through it.
I debated starting up an ASMR channel like recently because I realized like how easy it is to come up with the various ASMR ideas and like shit to do, and like as an audio person, like I know the setup, it's easy. And some of those content creators make a ton of money because they all have Patreons.
Yeah,
And some of them have tiers that are like $50 a month, and I'm like,
I've watched Peter McKinnon do ASMR when he's putting his bag together, his photography bag, and all the Velcro and all that stuff. I find that kind of stuff cool. That's the stuff I love to listen to. Like he puts a shotgun right on the bag while he's like opening compartments and zippers.
Yeah, like that stuff. That stuff puts me in a weird little like mental trance.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. But if someone's just sitting there talking really quietly into the mic,
yeah, it's just creepy. It's creepy.
Yeah,
I mean, to each their own. If that does it for you, all the more power to you. But
I have a feeling most of the people that watch this channel have no interest in ASMR because I did an ASMR test on my microphone.
People will take it to the next level and like they'll do like role play.
Yeah, do you really want to see a guy like me doing role play? I mean,
but like
that's cool if you do, but
some of it is just kind of sad. I mean, like one of them is just like, you know, your best friend falls in love with you and says nice things to you, and I'm like, oh damn, shit, you know?
Yeah, I don't. How do I put this nicely? I don't watch YouTube for any sexy time.
Well, that's a separate thing though. Like ASMR and what do they call it? There's like a separate genre of ASMR that's specifically like erotic.
Well, no,
ASMR.
totally get it. Like I said, Peter McKinnon's putting his camera bag together had no eroticism in it whatsoever. Unless you really got off on zippers, I can't imagine, or Velcro maybe. But when I think of ASMR and stuff like that, your best friend just fell in love with you. That's going to be erotic. That's what people are watching it for, right? The romance of it all. And no, I don't use YouTube for that, man.
No, well, yeah, because like the normal ASMR is just it's relaxing. It's just supposed to be kind of entrancifying. That's not a word, but it is now.
Third Degree, you can link us. No worries. I'm not.
Who the hell is Third Degree anyway?
That's shrimp.
Hint of Shrimp.
Hint of Shrimp. Change his name.
Mazel tov.
Yes. Hint of Shrimp and Third Degree. I gotta say, Third Degree is a much better name than Hint of Shrimp. Hint of Shrimp makes me think that I might be blowing up after eating some chow mein. I do have one little thing. I'm going to be getting the channel to help out to choose a logo coming up in the near future. Zippers make my nipples hard. Thanks, Cactus. That's a lot of information in that one little statement. So I've got an artist doing my logo up. And I think I'm going to get everyone to vote on their favorite logo. He's going to offer me like 3 or 4 of them. And I'm going to get people to vote. Because I have no ability to actually decide what's best for my channel. So
are you getting Ashley to do it?
No. Ashley did the one that I've got now, which I love, but it's not. See, one of the things that, and I actually was talking to Banjo about this, I'm actually super self-conscious about the shirt I'm wearing in every video, because I've actually had videos week after week where I've shot it wearing the same shirt because the shirt just came up again in my laundry cycle. I saw it and I'm like, oh, cool. And then I shot a new video, and I think there was 3 weeks in a row where I was wearing the same shirt in every video, but it was washed. I swear to God, it was washed. And then, so I got super conscious. So now I'm like, okay, what shirt did I wear last week? Okay, so I got to have a different shirt. But I'm just going to get a Dark Corner Studio shirt, and that's going to be what I shoot in every week. It's just going to be simple. I'm going to get 3 or 4 of them made. And one of the things I needed to do is I needed to have a logo that was done as a vector image, which I have no idea what that means.
It means it's not raster.
Sure, I don't do any of that.
It means it doesn't work on pixels and squares of colors. It works on mathematical equations, points and lines between points.
Cool.
It means it's infinitely scalable. There, how's that? Nice. It means you can make it as big as you want or as small as you want,
and it won't pixelate.
And it will never pixelate. Yeah.
Well, and that's what I want. I wanted that for a shirt, and vector images are the best for shirts.
Absolutely, 100%.
So I decided to go out and I picked up a guy off of Twitter. I just put out a tweet, I think about 6 months ago, saying, hey, does anyone want to do like a a logo for me, and probably about 700 responses later, there was one guy named Brian Cutter who I ended up friending him just to follow him. He was one of the few people that wasn't willing to do it for a bag of weed. And I liked that. Then I talked to him and he's like, no, dude, I'll totally do it for a bag of weed. Then I'm like, I already chose you. So there we go. Again, OnlyFans exclusives. Nice.
Inlyfans.
Inlyfans. That's a very different.
It's a new website.
It means you can make the images as large as you want without losing any detail. That is the one art form that I don't get. I don't get.
You pretty much have. I've gotten into it with Adobe Illustrator before. Yeah. It's a rabbit hole, man.
Well, and that's the thing. Like I've actually done a couple logos myself on Illustrator, just kind of fumbling my way through. I don't have the time to learn it. And Illustrator is much like Premiere Pro or Adobe Audition. You have to start at this point and work your way through all of the
literally have to, because it's vector.
Yes, but you have to. You can't just like jump in, and missing 3 or 4.
No, and there are just with vector stuff. There are just some shapes and or looks that are not possible. So you have to like be thinking in the realm of what is doable with vector. Which, if you haven't worked with it a ton,
Yeah, like I tried the pen tool. I'm like, that's not a fucking pen.
Yeah, you drop in and it's like this weird loop-to-loop, and you're like, what?
Yeah. That is like the least pen-like thing I've ever used in my life.
The pen tool in Photoshop is the same. It's vector. The pen tools in Adobe products are always vector-based, and it's very annoying if you're not used to those weird squiggles.
And I don't use, I've only ever used Photoshop for actually doing photography. Yeah. I've never done anything with I just started getting into actually, getting rid of backgrounds and all that crap. I never did that before.
I've done graphic design in Photoshop, never vector stuff. Obviously, all raster. Yeah. But hire a designer. You'll save yourself so much headache.
Yeah, you can draw the image with any program, import and trace the vectors, and that's the thing. Like what my daughter did, she used Procreate, which is a Mac program, but she doesn't know anything. Like this was before she went to university for art. Yeah. So she actually is in the top art university in Ontario, and it's one of the top in North America, OCAD. And I wanted to vector him, and she's like, I don't know how to do that.
A good comparison, I think, in the audio world, vector versus raster is, or a good analogy is, raster is to audio as vector is to MIDI, in the sense that there are applications that that can take a raster image and will try to, using contrast detection, will actually try to trace out a vector graphic and will spit out a vector. But just like audio to MIDI converters, they can really fuck up, especially and I've used some of those vector convert applications. And if your images have any kind of gradients in them,
yeah, I can see that. I can see that. All I know is it's $250 and I get myself 3 to choose from. So,
hey,
$250 ain't too bad. Considering this is going to be like the logo for everything. Also, my website requires the logo, and I wanted to keep the brand consistent. Have you
ever tried Fiverr? I know it's kind of become a meme at this point.
No, and I don't want to give any artist money on there. And that's the thing. Like, I prefer giving an artist what they're worth for doing a logo. And I would much rather pay $250 for a Met logo than $5 to somebody that's going to give me the best logo ever. Because that $5 should have never been paid. I don't agree with Fiverr in general. And I know Fiverr, you can pay pretty high.
Well, depending on who you go with, I've used Fiverr for a few services, and I use it as an initial gatekeeper, as a safety blanket, because if I get a shit product from somebody, Fiverr will, go to bat and be like, okay, give them their money back. You fucked it up. Whereas if I go to an artist directly, that's a risk, and that can be a pretty. Now, what I have done is I'll go on Fiverr, find a good creator, and then we'll connect on the side after. And any subsequent projects, I'll just go to them directly, and then they'll get the money. That way, Fiverr's not taking their stupid chunk.
I've thought about it. I really have, but I can't in good conscience give somebody $5 for a piece of work that I really like.
Well, and that goes for anything. I mean, there's artists not on Fiverr that could some of them probably would do it for $5.
And Bandrew says, yeah, they do have options for higher amounts. And
Oh God, like I hired a video editor through Fiverr and it cost me like $1,000.
yeah.
And it was a great edit.
But then I'm going through the process of finding, going through work, and you can do that in many different ways.
Oh yeah, there's
Other than
101
Fiverr.
ways to to skin a cat.
I was gonna put voiceover up on there, but then I'm like, do I want to be taking voiceover orders? Probably not. Not from Fiverr.
No.
And
Although at least it doesn't have overhead on like voices.com.
but it's also like, and this is, I don't necessarily believe that it's degrading industries. From a voiceover perspective, it really is. From an artist perspective, I do believe that Fiverr is killing a lot of artistry, which my daughter is like.
I don't think I think we're blaming the platform when really you should be blaming the
I'm not
patrons of the platform.
I'm not blaming the platform. The platform
Fiverr,
is what the platform is.
Yeah, Fiverr's not the one choosing that the artist charges $5. That's the artist choosing that the artist pays $5.
Yeah, and that's. But you have a lot of kids like my daughter who is 17, and should I work on Fiverr? No, you should never demean what you've learned down to.
Well, again, you can work on Fiverr. Just charge $200.
But then she also didn't have the skill set to do that. So it's
the nice thing about Fiverr is, from a business standpoint anyway, is as a creator. And I've never been on the creator side of it. I've only been on the customer side of it. But
yeah.
If you're new to the scene of whatever art you do, whether it's visual stuff, film stuff, it gives you an environment that people are there searching and are actively engaged, looking for people. Whereas if you start up your own website and you do the whole thing from scratch, like nobody's looking for you.
Yeah.
So you've got to, and then you're getting
your legwork.
You're getting into SEO and stuff, and it's Fiverr gives you like a bit of a diving board, springboard into people, and then once you get a bit of a catalog, and once you get a certain docket of people, you can move off and start your own site.
By the way, CF Wheezy's here. Haven't seen you in a long time, brother.
Yeah, it has been a while.
There's some amazing people on Fiverr, but it reminds me of eBay a little bit. Some amazing stuff.
Yeah, it's eBay for services, basically.
Yeah, and that's maybe I'll start taking a look at Fiverr.
And honestly, though, there is a lot of sketchy shit. Like you have to, and I like. For video editing, it was relatively easy because they all have demos up. So you can just watch their shit and be like, I don't like your style, moving on. And you can see past reviews and stuff. But it's not all bad. But there is definitely some sketchy shit. Well, just like eBay.
Beresford Productions. So where should a beginner voiceover person start, for example? I can handle this one.
Do it.
So if you want to get into voiceover, it's very niche, and there's a lot of people that want to take advantage of you.
Start with talking. If you want to get into voiceover.
The best thing I can say to you if you want to get into voiceover is find a coach first thing first. A lot of coaches cost a lot of money. However, there's people like Dylan out there you've actually built up your skill at coaching talent, right?
Yep.
You work at radio stations.
I'll put it this way. I coach people that don't know how to read. I do client recordings, and these are business owners that have never talked into a mic in their life.
Find yourself a radio producer. And I'm not even kidding. Somebody like Dylan, not necessarily Dylan, because I don't know if Dylan would be willing, but would take $500 to coach you through a demo. So your coach will get you scripts, will show you how to read the scripts, and then we'll record and produce your demo for. Some of them are like $5,000, but not all of them are. And there are some good coaches out there for voiceover. Once you have your demo, then you need to sell your ass. And you are literally, my friend Marianne, she does 1 in 30. So 1 out of 30 phone calls that she makes, she gets a job. And that's the life of a voiceover artist. But then at the same time, Marianne has made, $5,000 in a month. So if you want to get started in voiceover, the first thing you really need to narrow down on is getting a proper demo that people want to listen to. And trust me, you're not going to do it yourself. You need to have a coach for it. Just don't give in to the idea that you need a $2,000 coach. I think there's some people that it would be worth that, but for your first demo out, trying to get some work, go on, find a radio producer, and offer them $500-600, and you'll probably find a lot of people. What do you think, Dylan? Do you think there'd be a lot of radio producers that would jump at that?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Like just an extra $500-600 here. Can you coach me through and do a demo up for me?
I'd do it.
Right?
I have done it for less.
Beresford. There you go, buddy. Dylan will do it. $500-600 on the line. CF Wheezy says, been super busy with photography, and when your live show comes on, I'm usually setting up for sunsets. But love to listen when I'm here. Yeah, cheers, brother. Good to have you back. And, you know, I mean, you don't have to come to the live stream, but, you know, you always brighten the room. No, so I think one of the best things, once you're done getting your demo done, though, you become your own manager, salesperson, all of that stuff. Work on getting your name out there as much as possible. Don't find the list of, what do they call that list? The payment list for voiceover actors, Dylan?
What?
It's the SAG-AFTRA pricing list for voiceovers. I'm gonna have to find the link for it. Basically, don't.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know off the top of my head, but
don't undervalue yourself. A good the minimum that you're going to be able to hire a voice talent for is $300 for a script.
Yeah,
and that's the minimum. A lot of voiceover people get thousands of dollars to read one thing. National commercials can pull in 5 figures for a national.
Yeah, now don't start out of the gate charging that.
Well, no, but here's the thing. If you've got a national, yes, you charge that out of the gate. And that's the thing.
But if you've never voiced anything before...
No, hear me out, though.
Nobody's going to pay you for that if you have nothing, no skill.
That's the point. You're not getting a national spot, but you're also not selling your voiceover stuff for $20 when
$20 even for a newbie is way too low.
But that's the point. Post that link in Discord, please. I'm guessing the link to the pricing list. I will do that, Cactus.
The rate card.
I love seeing your live icon because I know it's finally Friday. That's why I do it on Friday. We've considered moving this, but this is kind of like a cleansing of the colon.
Pretty much.
This live stream, you know, it's our chance to sit back and relax and
drink beer.
Sit on the body that was the week, you know?
Sit on
the conquered body.
Sit on this sweaty ass pillow sitting on my chair because it has no lumbar support.
Oh, I use a hard chair, man. I'm manly. I don't need no pillow.
Nope. I sit here 8 hours a day. I'm not sitting on a fucking
1 in 30 is a great cold call ratio for anything. You know what though? When you're targeting the right people and you have the right product, you're going to get successes. 1 in 30 sounds like a lot from a sales perspective, but when you're like, hey, when you're calling an ad agency and you're saying, hey, my name is so and so, I'm a new voice. Business
to business, the rate 1 to 30 is like the lower end. Like, I mean, you could probably do 1 in 5 if you're targeting the right people.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you get a good enough approach here, I'm going to tell you the worst approach I ever took to something like this. Before this channel started taking off, by the way, Beresford says it's like food poisoning, cleansing of the colon. Exactly. This is like
our
food
live
poisoning.
Food Poison Friday.
That's exactly it. I'm putting that on a business card. So when I first started out this channel and it wasn't doing anything, I was unemployed and I was trying to launch my voiceover career. And I was doing that. I got some demos done. I put them in the bank. I had a website up. I was calling people, cold calling. And I started local and I was going to expand out basically international. And when I called this one company, the manager, who was also the owner, who was also the garbage man, who was like, this is the guy that did everything, wasn't at his desk, so he was going to call me back. Now, my cell phone didn't get decent reception in the basement. So I'd have to make my phone calls outside of the basement. And so I made a phone call. He was going to call me back. And that was about 2 hours prior. So I went upstairs to make myself some lunch. And the phone rang, and I thought it was my wife because my wife told me she was calling in a few seconds. I picked up the phone and just went, "Hey, lover." And the guy on the other end was like, "I'm sorry, who's this?" And I said, who's calling? He said, "This is Gary." He was the third Gary that I'd called that day, so I didn't know which Gary, which company, anything like that. I tried walking into my basement to look at my notes. Couldn't figure out who he was, what company he was with. He ended up hanging up on me about 30 seconds into that phone call. So, yeah. Those are the kind of cold calls that 1 in a 30 don't really work too well.
Nope.
So, yeah, that's probably the worst I've ever done. I called him Lover, which was...
Gary Lover sounds like that sounds like a great. It's like Burton Cummings. It's like fucking.
That was actually one of the last cold calls I ever did because I ended up getting the day job that I'm doing now, and I had to shelve the voiceover job because it's a lot of work. Like anybody listening to this live stream who thinks that voiceover is going to be a walk in the park, it's the same thing as authors. It's the same thing as a lot of jobs.
Any content creator.
Yeah.
Basically.
You are going to probably barely make enough to get by. If you are good enough, you'll be able to make this a full-time career. But you have to be good enough. Bev Standing, who I met, if you're wondering who Bev Standing is, you might know the name. She's the one suing TikTok right now because TikTok was using her voice. She was a housewife, I believe, or she was doing another 9-to-5 job, and her husband passed away one day. And she just decided to go for it, and she got into voiceover at the age of like 45. And she's now one of the most requested voiceover people. I think she does TTC Toronto. So she's the voice of TTC in Toronto. She does a lot of...
What's the name? Bev
Standing.
Bev Standing.
Yeah. She got into it at 45. She just had the skill for it. She had some innate talent, and she became amazing at it. Then other people toil away for years, spending thousands on doing demos, and they go nowhere. So this is why I don't do the how to become a voiceover artist, because it's not really something that you can teach it, but then there's also not everyone can become a doctor. Sorry. Not everyone's going to be an athlete.
That's it. If you want to be a doctor, we need lots of those, so don't shy away from that.
Ms. Ravioli, hi. Well, it's like doing a morning show. Everyone's like, well, how do you get that job? Well, you have to be able to do it. Well, you hustle, but you also, okay, you and I went through the same class. You could probably count on the amount, on one hand, the amount of people in that course that were capable of doing a morning show.
Yep.
It's not that they weren't good. It's just they don't have that. There's a little extra there, and it's a passion.
Yeah.
And without that passion, you're just not going to be able to do it. And It's the same with every job. So,
Miss Ravioli.
How's it going, Ms. Ravioli? Bangs, TikTok is evil. Terms of service gives them the rights to your bio.
Yeah, TikTok are pieces of shit. I mean, I love the creators on the platform. The content's great, but the platform itself is garbage.
Well, I mean, of course it is. It's social media.
Yeah.
Show me one social media that isn't evil. And you know what? Don't tell me what was that one that all the conservatives were using?
Was it not Periscope?
No, it starts with a P though.
I know.
They're all evil.
Parler.
They're all selling your information. Biometrics is kind of dirty though. I wouldn't want.
Yeah, I still think Mark Zuckerberg is one of the most douchey human beings on the face of the planet.
He runs the evil consortium.
Yeah, he's a douchebag.
But they all sell your product.
Well, it's not even social media. Google also sells everything about you.
Do you remember when they started their own social media platform, Google?
Yeah, Google Plus. Yep. With the circles.
But then they realized they're we don't need more information about these people. We have it all.
Nope.
It's CCP-backed social media. Well, but that's the thing. Facebook probably is too. In fact, Facebook probably has more investors from CCP than anyone.
The problem is data mining is one of the most financial, lucrative businesses to get into today. That's why Microsoft is in it now.
Yeah.
So Google's in it. Facebook's in it. Well, Google and Facebook have always been in it. They're like the pioneers.
Well,
But
that's CF Wheezy. Facts. Mainstream social media is questionable at best. I don't know a single social media that isn't pure evil. That is just selling your
I mean,
info.
Discord essentially is social media.
Yeah.
So I don't think Discord falls under that category.
No.
But also Discord also isn't really mainstream,
No,
so
it's
to
not.
speak.
Well, yeah, and it's not really social media per se. It's more of a message board than social media.
People use it to socialize. It's media.
You don't post your life facts on there.
You
know?
could. You could totally make a server and
You could, but it's not almost necessary to have a. It's not necessary to have a profile on there.
No,
like you
no,
really don't.
no.
Places like Facebook, where you basically hand over everything, including your belt buckle size. Yeah, Cactus. If the service is free, you are the product.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, that's the thing about radio too, right? Like when you listen to radio, you actually become a product that is sold. Not a lot of people realize that. That's why radio's free. Because
That's why, honestly, like every year, and this is kind of funny, the company that I work for, who shall remain nameless, every year we do our objectives, which immediately correlate to what kind of a bonus we can expect to see the following year. So, and one of the sort of company-wide objectives is, and I quote, create best-in-class customer experience. Thing is, I don't know which customer they're talking about because listeners are still considered a customer in a sense, but the B2B also considered a customer. So
yeah, radio's really wild and
because I can't cater to both.
Yeah.
I'm either catering to the listener or I'm catering to the client. I can't cater to both at the same time.
Discord is backed by Tencent. Huh. Let's not even get into the people that send their DNA into internet companies looking for their ancestry. You know what? And that's the fascinating thing about that Ancestry.com and all the other different ones that they do that. That is actually turned into a law enforcement tool.
Yeah.
For DNA searches. I'm really torn on that one because
Yeah, so am I.
it's
I'm on the fence.
fascinating whether or not I've never sent mine in. I've
never
had
done
my
it.
DNA mine.
I've at some point I might, just because there's some adoption in my family tree and I'd love to see like some reality in there, but I'm not so cynical. I'm sure there are some knockoff companies that are very sketch, but
So there are actual Bangs Naughty Bits says it's your local clinic and hospital that are selling your DNA off. If that was true, you got to remember in a Canadian perspective where everything's clamped down so tight because of our healthcare's
our socialized healthcare system.
socialized healthcare system, but in the U.S. where everything's private.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You asked. Well, I watched a video. You ever seen? I'm sure a lot of people here have probably seen Adam Ruins Everything.
Yeah.
Series on YouTube. There's some really useful little tidbits about all kinds of shit on there. But they were talking about the healthcare system. And they're talking about the prices of shit and how ludicrous some prices are, and how the pricing scheme in the medical business is basically bullshit. They have what do they call it? A charge master. That's what they call it. Every hospital has a charge master, and the numbers are basically all bullshit.
Yep.
And that's what they charge you.
Oh
Bullshit.
man, even socialized healthcare in Canada.
Yeah, it's not great.
So midwives, who my wife is a midwife, isn't able to actually refer people. They've got to get a doctor to refer for things. And the doctors, the reason that exists is so the doctors can get the referral fee, which is something stupid, and it's usually small, but the doctor wants that fee for referral that they get paid for. Just for writing out a referral, they get paid for it. And midwives aren't allowed to refer for that very reason, right? Like the idea of referring to another professional. Come on. Bangs, it's the big ancestry companies that are doing the sketch stuff. No doubt. CF Wheezy, having cystic fibrosis, I've sent my entire healthcare life to everyone for studies to help others. It doesn't scare me, but it's scary for others. I don't really know what you can do with a full healthcare script. I'm sure you can do something with knowing everything about a person's healthcare history.
Well,
but I don't
here's
know
the
what.
thing, though. There's legislation that prevents half of what we're talking about. It's a little thing called HIPAA.
Yeah.
Anybody heard of HIPAA? I mean, in Canada, it's not called HIPAA. It's probably called SIPA or some stupid shit. But in the States, there's the Health and Information Protection Act, which granted probably has all kinds of loopholes in it, but like you can't just hand over someone's medical records to any Joe Schmo private company. That's not a thing unless you consent to it.
So, by the way, we start talking about this, and then all of a sudden we get a bot. We've got a bot in chat.
Shocker.
I think this is the first bot we've had in chat.
Let me see.
It's vom.rad.
Hi, bot.
It's Beppa.
Is it Cleverbot at least?
Anyone able to actually identify that name? What language that is?
It looks Russian.
Yeah. There's a lot of languages.
The characters look Russian-esque. Like I've seen Russian before, and it looks
fascinating.
that side of the
We
world.
start talking about that stuff, people start showing up. It's like we
people quotation mark
turned on a
people.
tap. Well, somebody has to direct the bots, right?
Well, they're directing themselves. It's Skynet.
There's speed limit signs everywhere. It doesn't mean companies don't speed. It's true. Rules and laws are there to be broken. Woo. That's a creepy. The fact that we got that bot in here is creepy.
Beep boop up.
Yeah. And everyone else complains about the bots in live streams. I've never actually seen one show up until now. I've gotten bots on my actual videos. Usually to, here, come look at this sexy site. Ooh, that's gonna make me click.
Oh man, I get those the bots on Facebook. Like I probably get one a week. You know the gals, and you scroll through their thing. The first post is like, "Come to my WhatsApp group."
Yeah.
Oh, like okay, you're
where
gone.
we have many sexes.
Yes,
What?
wait. It's so true. The English is like notoriously horrible.
It
I've
looks
probably blocked 50 of those at least in my. I never block anybody on Facebook except those.
So Paul, Dan, and Paul and Dan all believe it looks Cyrillic. So.
I'm gonna pretend I know what that means.
Yeah.
I'm assuming. Yeah. Okay. I'm assuming that's yeah.
Damn Cyrillic. I thought that was Eurasia, Slavic, Turkish, Mongolic. Yeah.
Yeah. My money's on Slavic.
Yeah. Start pinpointing the countries that we think that bot came from.
Or the country that whoever coded it came from.
Yeah, just whip out a beanie. Yeah, so they can wear a tinfoil hat without judgment. Yeah, I don't wear tinfoil hats, but I mean, it is kind of creepy when you're talking on a Google platform about bots and about different kind of illegal activities, and a bot shows up. That's kind of cool.
Well, you know, we all know there are countries in the world that are trying to exploit the loopholes in our democracy.
Cyrillic is the Russian alphabet. Didn't know that.
I assumed I just assumed Cyrillic was the word for the thing that I was talking about that I didn't know what it was called, but now I do. So yay for learning stuff.
I'm reading the wrong books and watching the wrong movies is what I'm hearing. That's what I don't get certain things.
Man, I went on a rant about the Manhattan Project on a train on Tuesday. You should have seen the looks I was getting.
Were you just ranting to yourself? What?
No, like I was talking to my dad beside me. We were talking about it. And I was talking about like the yield of nuclear warheads and like some of the like looks. Like, why do you know this? Like, I find it interesting.
You're on a list somewhere. That's all.
Oh yeah, I'm on a no-fly list for. I'm probably not allowed anywhere in Washington D.C. No chance.
All right, that's probably fair. No, I guess you'd have been on that list a while ago.
Not that I really want to be there. There's nothing going on. There's nothing useful going on there anyway.
All right, guys, 612. Cheers. Thanks for coming out.
Hey, wait. You gotta wait until this 613 because you know
What?
6
It is
6 1
6:13, why?
613.
Oh, because Ottawa? Okay.
Guy lives there, and I connected the dots before he did.
Dude, Friday, I'm exhausted, man. My eyes are half closed right now. This whole week, by the way, like with everyone in the COVID scares
Oh
and
man,
everything.
like right at the end of the stream, somebody drops a information bomb. Andrew C, what's happening?
Andrew, see, other than the price, what's the difference between consumer, prosumer, and professional microphones and DAW software?
Okay, I can grab this. I can grab this.
Try doing that one quick.
Okay, so in a nutshell, there's some things. Obviously, consumer stuff is cheaper, generally designed to be very narrow in its use and not something that has longevity. Professional product, prosumer's in the middle, so you don't really need to. It's just a crossover between the two, really. Professional, It's generally stuff designed to be reliable because it's mission critical, and will be more expensive because businesses are often able to pay more because they make more, and generally can have a broader feature set or have a very specialized feature set that the average hobbyist would never need. For example, mix minus, a thing a hobbyist generally doesn't need, but professional mixers have that
Yeah.
feature included.
Unless
Like
you're a
that in a
podcaster.
nutshell. That's very vague, but without spending a half hour doing a thesis on this.
From DAW software, you'll notice. I mean, there's a fine line with.
What's
DAW
an example? What do you think is an example of a prosumer DAW?
software. I would say
Reason?
not well. Reason kind of.
Reaper, I
Reason-
think, is in the
That's more-
professional.
No,
yeah.
it's prosumer. I don't.
There's a
think
lot
so.
of professionals using it, and it's a
Well,
replacement for
but
Pro Tools.
Having professionals use it doesn't make it pro.
Well, if it's replacing a professional product, which it is.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. But then it, when you're looking at DAWs, and this is what I was getting to. So a pro DAW, like what you'd call Adobe Audition, would be considered a pro DAW, is something that's constantly updated, constantly. Like there's a reason you pay the money for it. There's a reason they make that amount of
And
money.
it's also scalable.
Yes.
Applications like PreSonus Studio One, I think this was called Studio One, is not scalable.
no.
It's a great DAW, and I would say it falls under the
Studio
category
One
of
would be prosumer.
prosumer DAW. Great DAW. It's actually got some features that even the professional DAWs don't have at this point, but it's still not scalable. Whereas Pro Tools, you can have 256 tracks in
Yeah.
a Pro Tools session.
Yeah, and that's also what kind of you touched on, having different little niche uses for it that the average person doesn't need more than 8 tracks.
But yeah, a prime example: Pro Tools has spot mode.
Studio One 5 Pro. I've never actually used the Pro version of Studio One.
Spot is a feature that nobody outside of
Spot,
the
yeah.
film and television business uses Spot, which is basically spot mode is you click a clip and it asks you where you want to, like it gets you to type in where you want the clip to move to.
Oh, nice.
Nobody outside of film and television uses that feature.
Fair.
But so yeah, there's little specialized niche tools in there that again professionals need. But if you're bumbling around in your basement writing a song or recording something for home movies, you probably don't need that.
So I won't go on record. I will retract my statement about Reaper because I don't have as much knowledge on it. And I'll actually, like Red Cabin is saying, Reaper has professional tools is scalable.
Yeah, Reaper
and is updated all the
absolutely.
time.
Also, Reaper, it's considered probably by a lot of people who don't use it. It's considered a lesser software because it's so cheap, and B, it's very lightweight. It's a very small tool, like as far as
See,
its file size.
I don't find it as. I don't think it's as usable. I don't find it's as easy to use. It doesn't have very many things that make sense for me, and that's usually why I relegate it to a certain area of prosumer. That said, is everything with a learning curve, and I get that. But in my own brain, I'm like, oh, this is just annoying to use.
Have you used Reaper?
Yeah, I used it about 2 years back, and I didn't mind it, but at the same time, I'm also like, I also get the same vibe when I use Hindenburg Journalist, is it called? It's really annoying. It doesn't make sense in a lot of things that I do, but then that's also my own imparting my own bias on the product.
Honestly,
And I understand that.
A lot of what defines what category a product falls into, unfortunately, ends up being the price tag at the end of the day. I mean, look, so
Yeah.
a prime example is Cubase versus Nuendo. I don't even know if Steinberg makes Nuendo anymore, but Cubase was the prosumer tool for a while, and it still is, and Nuendo was the pro tool. Nuendo was the thing that recording studios had installed in addition to in tandem with Pro Tools. And Cubase and Nuendo were virtually identical. The only difference was Nuendo had a little bit more flexibility with working with video, whereas Cubase
Yeah.
didn't.
Well,
That was really and the price tag.
But
That's
this
it.
is also an interesting point here. Andrew says, I asked the question as you defined Hindenburg as prosumer. And that is, I do actually put Hindenburg in that category because Hindenburg's used by a lot of consumers because of its price tag, but it is very niche pro. Hindenburg's used by journalists, and it's very, and so that with something like Hindenburg, and with a lot of DAWs that have very specific use cases, like Adobe Audition, the reason Adobe Audition's so big is because of radio.
Pretty much.
If it wasn't for radio, Adobe Audition would be.
Well, and its integration with Premiere, like any video editors using Premiere,
But-
it's a perfect marriage.
Yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, I mean, you look at what's the other version? Not Hindenburg. I can never remember the names of the bloody ones, but it has an audio editor.
Nuremberg.
Nuremberg. No. Don't fuck with me when I'm this tired, man. Don't do it.
I was totally going along with it. That was awesome.
So tired. Screw you all. Hindenburg is full of black box make it better features. It's useful for podcasting workflows. Yeah, Fruity Loops is still going.
No, fucking FL Studio.
But then the one question I have when it comes to DAWs is, does it fucking matter?
No.
If
If you
you're-
can do what you need to do with it,
Yeah, like
Whatever.
If you can do what you need to do in Adobe Audition, and Adobe
Or-
Audition
or
is what you
Audacity.
love, or Audacity, do it. If
Yeah.
it doesn't do it well enough for you, or you don't like the workflow of it, find something else that you do like. There's nothing in DAWs that helps the quality of the audio you're going to have unless it comes to production of the audio. So Audacity is going to have its hands tied when it comes to doing certain things. But
so just to clarify, Steinberg does still make Nuendo, apparently.
Oh, really?
I'm on their site now, and all the
Fairlight.
pictures,
thank you, Banks. Fairlight.
all the pictures of Nuendo in use on the website, like all the marketing shots, are it being used in like post-production studios.
Nice.
So yeah, I think it falls under the pro tier.
And that's the word I was looking for, intuitive. Red Cabin says Reaper is not as intuitive because it's customizable. And
Yes.
that's also one of the things, like when you look at prosumer, consumer, it really doesn't matter when it comes to a DAW. Unlike a microphone, which actually has actual tangible things about the microphone that make it pro, that make it consumer, that make it prosumer, a DAW is just zeros and ones. And it's what that DAW can do for you. So I don't really necessarily consider. Yeah, DaVinci Studio is what I was thinking of. DaVinci
DaVinci
Studio has
Resolve.
Fairlight, and Fairlight's trash from what I've heard. I still have to get DaVinci and Fairlight going because I want to try it out and I want to make sure I'm not wasting all my bloody money on Adobe Audition and Premiere Pro. But I have a feeling I'm going to be sticking with Premiere Pro for a
Why
time.
not? Why not?
For a time. DaVinci
It's kind of the-
Resolve. Yeah,
It's kind of the gold standard.
yeah. I would love to do Audition, but too expensive.
It
If
is,
I
and that's
wasn't-
one of the reasons why it's professional, is because it has a fucking overhead attached to it.
If I wasn't making money, the money that I am, I wouldn't be paying for it. But because I'm making money and I can afford the Adobe subscription, I just pay for it because it's so easy on Adobe. Everything is so easy, and that's the selling feature, the pro selling feature of Adobe, is you have a creative suite in your back pocket at all times.
Hey, there's the magic CS word.
But it's true. Like
You have a
can do-
created cloud in your pocket.
With CC, you can do anything. And that's frustrating because I don't want to give Adobe that much money every month.
Yeah.
But damn, is it so easy to do everything. I can, swapping clips out in Premiere Pro, it just works with Adobe Audition. If I need to do something in Adobe Audition, because I can't do it in Premiere, I don't even have to close one program to open another. It's amazing. Anyways, 6:23 now. I'm going to go because I'm real tired and Dylan's going to just have too much fun with me. So
Yep.
that sounded dirty and it didn't mean to.
Demonetized.
Got a pencil mic video coming out on Monday. It's the P170. I do have to say, once again, I love pencil mics. I'm now going to be getting a secondary AKG because this year we're going to be playing with a lot more guitar and music and seeing what what happens with that. And Dylan's going to be taking on a bit of a bigger role with that stuff. He doesn't know it yet, though. So
Yeah, 'cause we haven't talked about
thanks for coming out, guys. Yeah, love and hate Vegas Pro. I've never used Vegas.
I have. It gets the job done. But
Yeah, I know. I had a buddy of mine that was constantly like, "You need to use Vegas. Vegas is the best."
I've heard the same shit about FL Studio, and the only person I've heard say that about FL Studio worked for Fruity Loops.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, have yourself a great weekend, and we'll see you on Monday.